Prologue. The scent of antiseptic was a lie. It was a clean, sharp promise that masked the truth of the place, the underlying stench of fear, of sweat, of the coppery tang of blood that no amount of cleaning could ever fully erase. To Dr. Alina Conti, it was the perfume of her redemption, the smell of the life she had built on a foundation of carefully arranged lies. In the controlled chaos of the Blackwood Memorial ER, she was Dr. Ali. The name felt more natural to her now than the one she'd been born with. Alina Conti was a ghost, a whispered story from another lifetime. Dr. Ali was a fixture, witty under pressure, brave in the face of trauma, kind when it mattered most. She wore the identity like a second skin, a protective layer woven from 6 years of relentless vigilance. Tonight's offering to the triage gods was a multiple GSW, gang-related, the usual tableau of wasted youth and territorial pride. Her domain was a storm of controlled urgency, the beeping monitors, the shouted orders, the rustle of sterile packaging. Pressure's dropping, 80/40. A nurse called out, her voice tight. "Get another line of Oneg in him now," Alina commanded, her own voice a calm, steady counterpoint to the rising panic. Her hands, encased in slick crimson gloves, were a whirl of precise motion as she packed a wound in a young man's abdomen. His skin was pale, beaded with sweat, but his eyes, wide with a pain so deep it bordered on spiritual, locked onto hers. He had a spiderweb tattoo on his neck, the mark of the North Side Kings. Amateur upstarts, her father would have called them with a dismissive sneer. Unorganized, lacking vision. For a split second, staring into the boy's terrified eyes, the ER dissolved. She was 15 again, standing in the oppressive silence of her father's opulent study. The air had smelled of old leather and expensive cigar smoke. A man, one of her father's lieutenants, was sobbing, begging for forgiveness for some minor transgression. Lorenzo Conti hadn't even looked up from the papers on his desk. He'd simply given a slight, almost imperceptible nod to the man standing by the door. Alina had flinched at the sound of a single, sharp gunshot from the garden below. Her father had finally glanced up, his black eyes finding hers. "Sentiment is a weakness, Alina. Remember that." "Doctor," the nurse's voice cut through the memory, sharp and real. Alina blinked, the ghost of gunfire fading into the relentless beep of the heart monitor. The boy on the table was just a boy again, not a symbol of her damned inheritance. "Let's move, people, or 3 is prepped." As they rushed the gurney down the brightly lit corridor, a flicker of movement in the dim waiting room caught her eye, an anomaly in the chaotic pattern. A man. He stood impossibly still, a shadowed monolith amidst the frantic energy of the sick and the worried. He was tall and lean, his posture radiating a stillness that felt more threatening than any outburst. The overhead light caught the sharp, unforgiving plane of his cheekbone and the cool, assessing gray of his eyes. They weren't watching the drama unfold. They were watching her. A cold dread, ancient and instinctual, coiled in her gut, so visceral it felt like a physical blow. It was a look she knew, a look she had been running from her entire life. It was the look of a predator identifying its prey. It was the calm, analytical gaze her father employed before he made a decision that would ruin a life. "No, it's nothing. Paranoia. It's the fatigue," she told herself, the old mantra of feeble shield. It's always paranoia. But this felt different. This felt like an ending. She tore her gaze away, her heart hammering a frantic, traitorous rhythm against her ribs. She focused on the swinging doors of the OR ahead, a sanctuary of sterile light and definitive action. In there, she was a god. She fought against the inevitable and sometimes she won. As the doors swished shut behind her, sealing her in the humming, artificial womb of the operating room, the illusion of safety was complete. The outside world, with its gray-eyed men and its haunting memories, was locked out. She took her place at the table, her hands steadying, the scalpel a familiar weight in her palm. But deep in the marrow of her bones, where the little girl who had betrayed her own father still hid, the truth echoed, a silent scream in the sterile silence. The ghosts hadn't just found her. They were already in the room.